Hi there, and welcome to From the Desk of the Mayor. Thank you, NEK-TV, for letting us bring Newport up to date on what's happening in your great city. Hope you all have a good day, but we have some very special guests today, people who really are leaders in Newport. We have our interim fire chief, Kevin, and we have our infamous city manager, Jonathan, who we have put so much faith in, and both of them have just stepped up to the plate, and I'm so proud of them both. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kevin. Hope you're well.
Good morning, everyone. Hi again, Jonathan DeLeBruere, City Manager.
So we have some exciting things happening today, and I love having each one of these gentlemen on because they have some updates and things that are going on. We all know that the City Council approved at the end of the year monies to allow some new safety equipment to come to the firehouse. And the firefighters were so kind to do a presentation to the council members to see how that actually worked. However, better news, that equipment was actually put to use. And I'm going to ask Jonathan if he could step up to the plate now and tell us about that experience.
Sure. So last week, the Newport City Fire Department was dispatched to a singular vehicle rollover on Pine Hill Road for a reported person inside and trapped with injuries. So we had Chief LaCoss went direct. And then we responded with Rescue 5 with 3 firefighters. And Chief gave the update once on scene that we did need to pull out the tools and use them. Again, I think this is great having a Chief's vehicle go direct because, one, it can kind of give us responding members that update of what it is that we actually need before we get there. Knowing that, this was that incident, that we needed those tools. It was great that we had that training a couple weeks prior, so we actually had put our hands on the tools, and it went very smoothly. Both doors needed to be removed. They were removed within 30 seconds, and the patient was transported to North Country Hospital, and it was, seamless, right? We talk about the golden hour in the fire service of time of incident to person arriving at the hospital. And again, 30 seconds is all it took to get that person out of the vehicle. So we're very thankful for the citizens, for the City Council, for your support of this equipment because we couldn't do it without you. So
the hope is that more and more equipment can come your way because what you're doing is, saving people's lives every day, watching and waiting to save people's lives, and always being on call. You never know, but you're there. So, Chief.
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
So, it was very exciting for me. I of course arrived on scene. The first few minutes are very intense. We see that there was entrapment. I called back to the responding apparatus and said that we will need the tools. Previously, with the other tools, it would have been a slight delay in hooking up hydraulics, getting the truck, in the right location, so hydraulics would reach the hydraulic hoses, etc. It takes a few minutes. It also takes one person to man the truck with the old tools to run the hydraulics, turning hydraulic lines on and off. To have the guys grab those tools and basically walk up there, being battery operated, extremely mobile, extremely quick, and as Jonathan mentioned, it was a matter of 30 seconds, and I think she was, the EMTs were sliding a backboard to get them out. So it was amazing, and as Jonathan said, we're very grateful to the city of Newport, the council, the mayor, obviously the taxpayers for seeing the need for such a vital piece of equipment.
Wow, and thank you for saving that woman. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was fun.
She's right now must be saying, oh my goodness, okay, and right. I'm sure she's thanking you all as well. So you had a meeting today? Somebody want to kind of bring us up to speed? Tell us what happens at your meetings.
Chief LaCoss and I had a meeting at North Country High School for their first annual safety fair. So this is going to take place at the Career Center, May 9th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And they're really inviting so many different resources, and I didn't write down the names of all of them. There had to have been 20 different, at least 20 different resources coming in. They'll start that evening off with dinner and food for everyone, and then they're doing the three keynote speakers, one about gun safety, journey to recovery, and then there was another one. Umbrella. I'm not sure what they're presenting. But there were 3 20-minute keynotes, followed by demonstrations, and then in the gym, the resources will all be set up so folks can walk around. They'll be doing a raffle, so when visitors come and visit the tables, they'll get a raffle ticket that they can then choose a prize of their choice. They're still kind of working out the logistics. That'll start to be advertised publicly next week. It'll be in the paper and on Moo 92. So that's really exciting. The fire department will be participating. We'll have our police department there as well. So, setting up resources and booths and hopefully get good attendance there at their first annual safety fair.
So when people actually come there meet you, they can actually meet you all.
Yes.
That's even more fun. Okay,
Yeah.
So they get to meet 2 celebrities, some TV celebrities here.
Yeah.
So you can have like your autograph pens ready to.
Yeah, right.
Well, we kind of chatted, what might the fire department do. I know that we would like to set up a resource tent there, and we chatted briefly about maybe bringing a couple members with some gear.
That would be great.
We talked a little bit about maybe bringing a piece of apparatus, but it is kind of later in the evening versus the day. So I think internally in the fire department, we need to figure out exactly what we're going to be doing, but we're absolutely going to participate.
I'm excited about that because the more people know about you and they get to know you one-on-one and they realize what you're doing, the more they will say, you know what, we appreciate it and we need to keep backing our department because your department is so crucial to the lives of our city and surrounding cities. So I thank you for that. I really do. But now I think you have something called Operation Mayday. Right? You might be willing to sneak peek.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah. Well, so this is Operation Mayday. It's basically put on by the state of Vermont, and it's a statewide firefighter recruitment program, and we have reached out and registered so that we are going to be a participant. Let me see here. It's going to take place on May 11th. They'd like to have an open house. Have all participating fire departments have an open house from like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Newport City will participate. We will have the fire station open. We will have our table set up with applications, and it's tough. It's tough to get people to volunteer with such time constraints and family obligations. So this is a good way to reach out. Newport City Fire is always looking for new members. We're I think approximately at 20 or 21 now on the roster. If we could boost that up another 8 or 10, I would think it would be a great thing. Yeah.
So I have a question. Is there a minimum age to volunteer? Could you give us a little bit more information about if somebody wants to volunteer?
Sure.
What what it might look like?
So we actually have a junior program here at Newport City Fire. The junior program, you have to be at least 14. It goes from age 14 to 17. At the point that you turn 18, now you can become a full-time member. So 18 is the minimum age that we require to be able to really participate and do the trainings with us. SCBA trainings, tool handling, things like that. But we have a great junior program. We highly encourage anyone that's interested that's underage to get a hold of us, stop in. We have one night of training kind of dedicated to the juniors, and our guys really step up to help to do the training.
Do any of the older Boy Scouts volunteer for this?
At this point, I don't know that I've...
Like, has any troop said, hey, you know what, you're now at the higher end of the Boy Scouts. What do they like to do community service, and they're so into, giving back as well, and leadership and achievement. Has there been any communication, say, with them?
Yeah, so Mike... I believe it's Mike Kuchar is the troop leader that's local here, and he did actually bring the troop over. Gosh, it would have been last fall, I believe, to do a tour of the station. It was a younger, maybe Cub Scouts. I think it was. It was a younger generation, younger age group. But Mike has reached out, and so that would be that's a great resource that I've kind of forgot about, I guess. But
I mean, because I know, when I was like your age, I was a Girl Scout. No, and so you went to Girl Scouts, and and then you go on, and then you have your own children, you become a leader. But when you hit the higher level, you want to do something beyond. And you try to find it, at my time it was like, nursing, candy striping kind of thing. But I would think Boy Scouts, when they hit that higher level too, rather than drop out and stop, they've earned so many badges and all their civic-minded concepts, and might be something that, since you have the junior program, that the locals might be interested in. Might not, but it's a thought. It's still a resource. My thought is that any resources you can get out there that tap into the younger generation, the potential leaders, would be something of interest. And you never know, right?
And Mike has been doing it for a long time, and he is super involved. He's very dedicated, and so Mike would definitely make it work for us if we reached out, I'm sure.
So Newport, I want you to know this, okay? By default, if we don't have a fire chief, your city manager becomes, by our charter, the fire chief. And the good news is that our city manager is qualified, shy of when your mayor was stepping in the role there. And so our city manager is qualified. Our chief here has stepped up to the plate. 8 months ago, we both came on together.
Yes. Yep.
And our chief has been phenomenal. Stepped up to the plate, said, I will do it for about, 30, 60 days. And he's still doing those 30, 60 days. And he has given us his word that he's going to continue the 30, 60 days. But my main concern right now is that you understand the qualified people we have here. And then I'm going to ask our chief to just explain a little further about who is inside the fire department and what certifications I have, etc. So I'm going to start with our city manager, who came not only with the skill set of a city manager, but with the real skill set of a city manager who would have to default to a fire chief if necessary. Would you tell us about yourself and your skills as a fire chief? We know how talented you are as a city manager.
Sure. So my fire service background started 10 years ago. Before that, both my grandfather and stepfather were on Newport City, Val and Don Whipple. And I remember growing up as a kid, I used to see the big red Minotaur pager, right? The old ones that they used to have. And, it would go off and Don would go out and he would his main job was taking photos for the fire department. But I never really got involved. Kind of my next exposure to the fire service was at the junior high school in Derby. And it was Eric DeGree was the health teacher, and they had a career day. And they had a set of bunker gear that they had blacked out the mask, and you got to try it on and kind of go through a little obstacle course. And so I did that, and it was a lot of fun. Again, years went by, and I had moved into the Burlington area. And basically, we were out to dinner with family one day, and a family member's partner had just retired as a captain with the city of Burlington. And I was about to move to Winooski into a Champlain College dorm. And he said, well, have you ever thought about joining the fire service? And I said, yeah, maybe a little bit as a kid, but never really had any interest. And he said, well, Winooski maintains roughly a 15-person roster for 500 calls a year, which as we know, Newport, that's, we do roughly 200 calls a year with 20 members, that it was a very busy department, but still a paid on-call department. So signed up, went to their first training, and I was hooked day one. So that was kind of my first start in the fire service, roughly 10 years ago. I stayed on with Winooski, finished there as a lieutenant, did 7 years with the city of Winooski, and then my wife and I bought a house in Fairfax, and so I've done 3 years there as well. For the past 5 years, I've taught for the Vermont Fire Academy, going all over the state, teaching new firefighters throughout different programs, the standard Fire 1, Fire 2, but also the ice water rescue programs, the Fire Officer 1 and 2 programs, so kind of some upper level Fire Academy programs as well. In addition to that, I've been down to the National Fire Academy and just completed my Managing Officer program. It was a 2-year program that I had to spend 4 weeks down in Emmitsburg, Maryland, to work on some higher level officer training stuff down there. So that was phenomenal. It's sometimes we look in Vermont and there's a lot of training being offered, but getting that outside perspective sometimes is really important. I mean, there's a gentleman that's a battalion chief in the South San Francisco Fire Department that we text on a daily basis, constantly running ideas off of one another.
Good.
So I think the fire service is a family, and you hear this all the time that, once you're part of that fire service family and community, it's for life. And so it doesn't matter where you are, where in the state, where in the country, the world. I remember I did a summer in China and had a fire shirt on, and they invited me into the firehouse, and we didn't even speak the same language, right?
But you spoke the same language.
But we spoke the same language, right? Of just wearing a job shirt and just having that camaraderie of one another. And again, it's just what we do, right? So
yeah, it's what you do. You save people's lives.
It's important.
That's exactly right. So that's the best camaraderie to
yeah.
be part of.
So that's, again, my fire service background. I have joined Newport City. I've been on 3 weeks or so. So it's great to, I think it's amazing that you go in the firehouse, right? Again, not one that I ever expected to be a part of, but to see your entire family on the bricks in the front mezzanine, right? Mm-hmm. That station was built with donations from my family long before I even thought about joining the fire service. So that to me is pretty phenomenal. And then to be a part of such a great department, President Vachon mentioned at the meeting what we had at the fire station where we demoed the extrication equipment, and he said, you've been on this fire department less than a week, and people are already coming up to you and asking questions, and you can already tell that it's a family, right? And this was someone that's not part of the fire service, kind of just looking in as a council member. So it's interesting to hear some of those thoughts and perspectives from the outside of how we operate and how we communicate. And so it's, that's
great. I mean, I want Newport to understand the insides, what the internal operations of what's going on, how safe they should feel. And I'm going to bring us now to our chief, who we know has just led this department for with such expertise and such kindness, and you always do it in such a mellow, controlled way. Notice the difference in the personality. Okay. And so it's just amazing. So could you kind of just, and I thank you again for not leaving. And could you just tell us a little about who's in there, the qualifications, the first engineer, the second engineer, what that means?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I've been on for 23 years myself. I am trained at the firefighter 1 level. I have less training than our city manager, but basically get on as a volunteer, paid volunteer, and was working a full-time job at the time also. But when I got on, I think there were 40 or 41 of us on the roster. Great, Bobby George was the chief, fantastic leader. Taught me a lot as a new firefighter. I get on and you get your gear on, you jump out of the truck and you head towards the fire with no idea what you're doing or why you're doing it or what you're doing there. And the chief is good enough to kind of grab you in and say, hey, you need to do this. And so I've had some very good leadership and I've appreciated every bit of it. I think I was firefighter for about 6 years and then promoted to captain, which kind of skipped the lieutenant part of it. The fire department is structured like the military. There's the chief. Newport City has a chief. We have 2 assistant chiefs, 2 captains, and 2 lieutenants. And as your training progresses and you get more experienced, you're basically promoted. But we train every Tuesday night. We're there training anything from throwing ladders to, jaws. We train on the equipment, the extrication equipment. The chief is the only paid full-time position at Newport City Fires, and the rest of the guys are paid volunteers, so they are paid as the tones go off and as they participate in the fires. It's tough. Everybody has lives outside of the fire department, and not everyone can make every call, and not everyone can make every training, but we do very well. What's really neat about a paid volunteer department like this is that there's a lot of diversified background as far as job sets and skills. We have guys that work for the gas companies that are very good with propane, which is super important at a fire to make sure propane tanks and stuff are under control. We have electrical guys, linemen that specialize in line work and do the electrical part of it. We have plumbers, we have truck drivers. And it takes that whole group to make the brotherhood work. And as Jonathan talked about, it's a family. We're a big brotherhood down there. And we take care of each other. If somebody starts coming under some hard times, we try to step up and help. And we do a lot of community outreach as much as we can. This is Newport City's department. We're here to serve the residents of Newport City. Try to do a lot of outreach and just do the best we can. We have a lot of very qualified firefighters at any given time in the city. The city is very well covered.
So I can vouch for that. I've seen these gentlemen and their team at work, and I actually got, for a short period of time, to ride in the truck. A very short period of time. However, we are going to be having a special meeting this week where we'll be covering at the council some financial issues, as well as talking about the fire department and looking at the chief position. And so watch for that to be posted. I do want Newport to know that I am so pleased that these experienced firefighters who take care of Newport have shown up today. And for me, thank you. Thank you so much. And to Newport, thank you for joining us From the Desk of the Mayor, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.